California versus Cindy Ballard, accused of hit and run. Would the prosecution please rise and identify themselves?
Your Honor, ladies of the jury, my name is Kearny and I represent the state of California.
Your Honor, ladies of the jury, my name is Clint Short and I represent the state of California.
Your Honor, ladies of the jury, my name is Kearny and I represent the prosecution of the state of California.
The defense counselors please rise and identify themselves.
Your Honor, my name is B. Fang. I represent the jury, ladies of the jury. My name is B. Fang, and I represent the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, ladies of the jury. I'm Scott Clausen, and I'm representing Miss Cindy Ballard in this action.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, ladies of the jury. My name is Tracy Lee, and I'm representing Miss Cindy Ballard in this action.
Bailiff, would you please swear in the jury? Second recess.
Jury member, all rise. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear to do my best as a jury member in this case. I will consider only the evidence in deciding guilt or innocence. You may be seated.
Prosecution, do you have any physical evidence you wish to submit?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to present this accurate map of Bellwether.
Bailiff, would you hand it to the defense? Defense, do you have any objections to the evidence?
No objections, Your
No, Your
Honor.
Honor.
Bailiff, take it and label it Prosecution Exhibit 1. Do you have any other evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to present this green piece of cloth found on the fender of Miss Ballard's car.
Bailiff, would you show it to the defense? Defense, do you have any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Take it and label it Prosecution Exhibit 2. Do you have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any evidence?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're about to serve as jurors in a trial that involves defendant Cindy Ballard, accused of violating Section 2001 of the California Penal Code. I would like to remind you of the seriousness of your duty, which is to sift through the testimony presented to you and find the truth. Please listen carefully and attentively throughout the trial, taking notes if you wish. At the end of the trial, I will clarify the law as it applies to this case. Do you have any questions? Prosecution, are you ready with your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah. Good morning, ladies of the jury. My name is Adrian Aguilar Fonseca, and I represent the prosecution for the state of California in this criminal case. In a few moments, I will explain to you what happened on the night of April 27, 1984, at approximately 11:30 p.m. But before I do, I would like to say a few words. 12 people have been chosen out of many to do a great task. These 12 have proven to be the most capable, qualified, and honest people. They have shown that they are unbiased and have a great deal of respect for our legal system. A legal system that through the centuries of existence has proven to be the fairest and best overall for bringing criminals to justice. Once again, these 12 people, maybe not today or tomorrow, but soon, at the end of all the questions, answers, all the begging and pleading, will push through all the falseness and disillusions, only accepting the facts and what is relevant to this case, and will bring justice to one more deserving person who committed a crime. These 12 people are you, the jury. Now, your job will not be an easy one. First, you will hear actual facts of what happened on the night of April 27th, 1984 at approximately 11:30 p.m., from witnesses who were at the scene of the crime and also from witnesses who were not at the scene of the crime. These stories will not sound the same, but it is your job, ladies of the jury, to find out which witnesses are not telling the truth. So please, ladies of the jury, weigh the facts heavily and consider the testimony of the eyewitnesses more. So what did actually happen on the night of April 27th, 1984, at approximately 11:30 p.m. Let me brief you on it and make it a little bit more clear. Genevieve LaFrance was jogging, as she usually does in the evenings, when she approached the intersection on 2nd Street and Foothill Boulevard, which is right there. Okay. Could you all see that clearly? Okay. She jogged in place and she looked both ways to see if any cars were coming. Okay. She looked north and south. As she saw no cars coming, she proceeded to jog across the street inside the crosswalk. But she didn't make it to the other side of the street because she was brutally hit by a car which the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard, was driving. Poor Mrs. LaFrance, the jogger, was unconscious for nearly an hour. When she awoke, she was in severe pain because her spleen was ruptured and her right elbow had been shattered. Mrs. LaFrance can't do many of the things she used to do because of her injury caused by the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard. As prosecutors of the state of California, we intend to put to justice the cruel and violent acts of Miss Cindy Ballard, the cause of Mrs. LaFrance's suffering. The prosecution will do this by bringing to the witness stand 3 witnesses that will state facts to prove Miss Ballard guilty. First, to testify for the prosecution after Miss LaFrance will be Mrs. Dorothy Franklin. Miss Franklin was at the scene of the crime before, during, and after it happened. She will testify that she saw a pale blue vehicle, license number Van 640, hit Mrs. LaFrance and leave her laying injured in a neighboring yard next to Mrs. Franklin's house without even stopping to assist. She will also testify that she saw the defendant, Miss Ballard, through the front windshield and also through the passenger side of the car. The driver was wearing white clothing. She saw only one figure in the car, and the figure was that of a lady or girl. This tells us that it was the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard, who was driving the car. The next witness, Officer Martinez, will testify that he saw what he saw and concluded or proved through his investigations. Officer Martinez found a lot of evidence that points to Miss Cindy Ballard as the driver of the car that struck Mrs. LaFrance, the jogger. Officer Martinez found the car at Mrs. Ballard's house that matched the description of the car involved in the hit-and-run crime. He found a piece of cloth from Mrs. LaFrance's jacket attached to the car. This piece of cloth right here, okay, with lettering also that was missing from the jacket. When Officer Martinez questioned the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard acted very defensively and refused to cooperate. This is very suspicious for a person who claims she is innocent and should have nothing to hide. Officer Martinez will testify that he smelled a strong scent of alcohol on the defendant, Mrs. Ballard's breath. Based on the facts that Officer Martinez found the car, found the piece of cloth on the car, and the alcohol in Mrs. Ballard's breath, he had enough probable cause to arrest the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard. Our last witness is a fine man who may someday be a great doctor, Mr. Ralph Gabardi, a foreign exchange student from Switzerland, who arrived in Bellwether in January of 1984. He will testify that he does volunteer work at the Bellwether Children's Clinic working with handicapped children. He hopes to go to medical school here in the United States. The young man will testify that he was with the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard, a few moments at a party her friend, Miss Jill Cochran, was throwing for the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard. He will testify that he left Miss Cindy Ballard in her car at approximately 11:15. Mr. Gabardi then walked home from the party through the golf course. Mr. Gabardi will testify that he never at any time drive the defendant, Miss Ballard's car, or know anything about the hit-and-run crime. He arrived at his home, or apartment, as you may call it, at around 11:30 p.m. and in time to watch the beginning of the Johnny Carson show. This was the time that the crime was committed by the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard. All these witnesses will prove to you, ladies and gentlemen, ladies of the jury, that the defendant, Ms. Cindy Ballard, is guilty as charged. But just as well as we show you with the facts that the defendant is indeed guilty, the defense will do all in its power to try to deceive you into believing that Ms. Cindy Ballard is innocent. So please listen to all the facts, all the testimonies, and take into consideration only what is relevant to this case. Ask yourself why the defendant, Mrs. Ballard, didn't help Ms. LaFrance at the scene of the crime. Why she didn't even call for help when she got home after seeing Mrs. LaFrance injured. Why didn't she go back for those 3 short blocks, to help Mrs. LaFrance after the accident? Was this the behavior of a considerate, kind, and helpful person, or that of someone who had just committed a cruel act? Ladies of the jury, I trust that you will make the right choice. The people of the state of California ask you for justice in this case. Thank you very much.
Defense, are you ready with your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, actually ladies, good afternoon. My name is B. Fang, and I represent the defendant, Miss Cindy Ballard, the nice young woman there. We have chosen you individuals because we trust that you're the best 12 picked from the 200, and you're the best fit for this case. We trust that you'll be impartial in this case. What lies ahead of you will be quite a difficult task, since you 12 ladies of the jury will have the burden of deciding whether that nice young lady, Miss Cindy Ballard there, is innocent or guilty as charged beyond a reasonable doubt. You 12 jury members, as of now, hold the key to Miss Cindy Ballard's future, so please pay close attention. On the night of April 27, 1984, Jill Cochran, Cindy's best friend, hosted a party in which Cindy attended. Jill introduced Cindy to Ralph Gabardi, that young man there. At 11 p.m., Jill Cochran witnessed Ralph and Miss Cindy Ballard leaving the house through the kitchen door and to Cindy's car. Jill Cochran saw on that night a white shirt, Cindy's sweatshirt, and Ralph in the middle of the seat. Barry Porter, a member of Cindy Ballard's wing team, was also at the party. Mr. Porter had very little to drink, as Mr. Porter will testify. But he saw Ralph drinking out of the vodka bottle. Barry Porter also witnessed Cindy and Ralph going outside, out of the kitchen door to Cindy's car. A few moments later, he heard 2 doors slam. As Mr. Porter went upstairs, he went to use the bathroom on the way, and he looked out the window into the yard. From the window view, he saw Cindy's car start and pulled out, but he did not hear another door slam, or he didn't see anybody walking away from the car. So that proves that Ralph Gabardi, the gentleman there, has to be in the car. On the same night of April 27, 1984, Miss Genevieve LaFrance took her daily evening jog on this route. Right here. The spring rain was pouring down incessantly, but she didn't mind. Instead, she had a stereo headset on, probably playing so loud so she wouldn't be distracted by the rain. But isn't it odd to jog in the middle of the night while it's raining so hard like that? At 11:30 p.m. on the intersection of 22nd Street and Foothill Boulevard, she hopped into the crosswalk and run in time to the music which played on her stereo headset. Ms. LaFrance claimed she had looked both ways before crossing Foothill Boulevard, but on that rainy night, with her music probably so loud, distracting all her attention on her routine jog route, she probably couldn't pay much attention to the road except the rhythm of the music. Unaware, a fast-moving automobile hit her on the crosswalk while she was crossing Foothill Boulevard. Now, Miss Cindy Ballard is well known at Bellwether High School since her mother is an outspoken mayor and a very, very strong supporter of PAD, which is People Against Drunk Driving. Now, Miss Cindy Ballard, taking precautions, knowing that her parents wouldn't approve her drinking and driving, she did have a little drink, so she let Ralph drove her home. Moments after the accident, Miss Dorothy Franklin lives west side of the Foothill Boulevard, where 22nd Street ends. While taking her dog out under the carport for his evening round, Miss Franklin witnessed the horrible accident in front of her about 60 feet away. Miss Franklin went to the aid of Miss LaFrance and called 911. Now, Miss Franklin will testify that she had witnessed and saw a white color in the car and give the descriptions of the car and the driver that hit Miss LaFrance. But please keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that Miss Franklin was on medication, as she has stated to Officer Martinez. And also, it was a rainy night, and it was misty. You couldn't see clearly on that night. And the accident occurred about 60 feet away. And also, Miss Franklin is 52. No, she's quite old, 60. So, she in fact couldn't see very well, because usually old people will have lost their eyesight, some of their eyesight by that time.
Order.
So, in conclusion, what Miss
Order in
Franklin,
the court.
what Miss Franklin described from her view cannot and should not be considered as 100% certain or facts. She's just stating what she thought she saw, and not what the actuality is. Now, the investigator that came was Officer Martinez after Ms. Franklin called. He obtained the information of the license plate of the car that struck Ms. LaFrance from Ms. Franklin, that the license was VAN 64, and she forgot the last number. The investigator traced the license numbers to the car of Steve Ballard, husband of the mayor, Kathleen Ballard, who was noted among the state's best-known supporters of PAD. At the hospital, promising Geneva's husband to do all he could to solve the crime, Officer Martinez was so overwhelmed by the importance of locating the car and the driver that he went to check it out right away. Officer Martinez located the car and found a scrap of the lime green cloth, which is this. on the right fender of the blue Valiant Plymouth. He noticed the porch light and the car was parked outside Miss Cindy Ballard's house. He noticed that the porch lights were still on, and he rang the doorbell. Cindy Ballard came quickly as she noticed him and opened the door quickly and gladly invited him in. She told him she just got back from a party. Officer Martinez asked her questions because he was real suspicious seeing the green clock and the car. He asked her questions concerning the smell of her alcohol in her breath and how she got home from the party. She said that a foreign student named Ralph, that individual young man right there, had drove her home. But Officer Martinez, as I have said, was so overwhelmed of the importance of the car, of finding the car and the driver, that he felt sure that she was the driver of the car when it hit Miss LaFrance. He booked her for felony hit and run charges under the code 2001 and 2003, and also under driving under the influence of alcohol. He later dropped the second charge since her breath test showed that she had not been intoxicated at the time of the accident. He couldn't affirmatively stated that. But notice, though, that Cindy Ballard testified that Gabarty, foreign exchange student, was driving, but Officer Martinez delayed going to his house after he visited Cindy Ballard's house. Instead, he waited till that morning and went to his house. Well, no wonder the police department is criticized for its inept investigation. Officer Martinez is negligent. He should have gone to Ralph's house right after his visit to Cindy's, but he didn't. When Officer Martinez went out to Ralph Gabarty's house and questioned him, he was hardly suspicious at all, because he thought that he had already captured the criminal, the real criminal, who he thought to be Miss Cindy Ballard. Ralph said that he had walked home in the rain, and Officer Martinez believed him and didn't arrest him. But don't you think it's kind of odd for a person to walk home in that night with the spring rain pouring down, while you could have a cozy ride home with Miss Cindy Ballard? So, ladies of the jury, my client, Miss Cindy Ballard, was wrongly accused of the crime, and she could never have the audacity to commit such a crime, as the reporter and her coach Narasaki will testify. These 12 members of the jury are the only ones who can save her from injustice. I hope that you will make the right decisions and save Miss Cindy Ballard, for her future is in your hand. Thank you.
Prosecution, are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, we are, Your Honor. Prosecution would like to call Ms. Jennifer LaFrance to the stand.
Swear Mr. LaFrance in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Please state your first name and spell your last name.
I'm Genevieve LaFrance, LaFrance.
Can I approach Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, there's no need to ask to approach your own witness.
Thank you. Please relax. Good afternoon. Please relax and know you're the first witness, so please speak loudly and clearly and direct your answers toward the jury. Please tell us a little bit about your occupation.
I was once the prima ballerina in the famous European dance company, and recently I published a best-selling book.
What do you do with your extra time?
I contribute my time and money to the local art organization.
Do you jog often?
Yes, I jog every evening.
Can you show us on the map where you normally jog?
Okay, this is where my house, across there, and try to cross the street to get to the jogging path.
Okay. What were you wearing on the evening of April 27th?
I wore lime green suit, jogging suit, kind of green.
Would this match that same outfit?
Yes, it was.
Were you wearing headphones?
Yes.
What, on the range of 1 to 10, what would be the volume of your headphones?
It's kind of a medium.
Could you hear other things going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you familiar with the intersection where you were hit?
Yes.
Was it raining that night heavily?
Not really heavy.
Just like misty?
Sprinkled.
Was the area well lit?
Yes.
What did you do when you approached the intersection?
I make sure I look both ways before I enter the crosswalk.
Was there any cars coming or headlights? Or anything?
No.
What happened when you entered the intersection?
Suddenly, bright headlights came up and just rolled me down.
Mr. Franz, would you say the car was going fast or slow?
It must have been very fast.
How could you tell the car was going fast?
Since I haven't seen any slight glow of the headlight when I first entered the crosswalk.
Okay. What do you remember about the accident?
I remember that I felt crushing pain and everything went black. The next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital.
What did they tell you in the hospital when you woke up?
They told me that it was the April 28th morning, 1984.
Did you have any injuries?
Yes, I have violent headache and feeling like I want to vomit.
Will you ever be able to dance again?
No.
Okay. What kind of effects have this accident had on your life?
It totally changed my life, which I want to pursue as a career plan for as a dance teacher. But now, I guess, kind of delayed. I can't dance anymore, and I'm afraid of car every time I walk out on the street.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess? Your Honor, I have one more question for a witness. Isn't it true when you woke up in the hospital that they told you had a ruptured spleen and a fractured elbow?
Yes,
Okay,
on my
thank
right
you.
elbow.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready to cross-examine the witness?
We are, Your Honor. May Ladies and gentlemen, ladies of the jury, good day, Ms. France. Your Honor, could you please instruct the witness to answer all my questions in a yes or no?
Mr. Blanche, please respond to the counselor's question, yes or no.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Ms. LaFrance, isn't it a fact that you were once a prima ballerina?
Yes,
Isn't it also a fact that you wrote a best-selling dance book?
yes,
And also, isn't it a fact that you were very active in the arts community before you had your accident?
yes,
Okay, Mrs. LaFrance, is it true that you maintain your active lifestyle by going jogging late every night?
yes,
Isn't it, do you jog at this late time to avoid the traffic?
yes,
Or maybe is it because it is the only time that you can find in your active lifestyle to jog?
yeah, that's,
Thank you. Ms. LaFrance, isn't it a fact that you wear a stereo headset?
yes,
Isn't it also a fact that you set your headset at volume to drown out most outside noise?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness.
Overruled.
Ms. LaFrance, isn't these outside noises very unpleasant to you?
yeah.
Wouldn't some of these outside noises include automobiles?
Well, it was so quiet that night.
Mrs. LaFrance, when you were in the intersection crossing and you were about to be hit, did you ever hear Mrs. Franklin screaming at you?
No.
So what you're saying is that you had your headphones at such a volume that you could not hear most of the outside
Objection, we
noise?
just covered the subject.
Overruled.
Okay.
No,
This is
Scott,
a-
I need to remind you, when he overrules it means, and Tom, you probably should say you go ahead and ask that question, to remind him.
Go ahead and answer that question.
Okay. Mrs. LaFrance, like I said, didn't you set your headset at such a volume that you could not hear almost any outside noise?
Well, I got hit before she just screamed at, so I was unconscious.
Okay. Ms. LaFrance, I have one more question, which is very important. Mrs. LaFrance, did you ever see who was driving the vehicle that struck you?
No.
In fact, did you ever see what the vehicle was except for the headlights?
No.
We are may have a 10-second recess.
May. Order! Order in the court!
Did I miss anything? Mrs. LaFrance, since your lifestyle has been totally changed by this accident, are you ever going to try to continue your dance teaching,
No.
or even continue just plain dance?
I'm not able to do anything anymore.
Thank you. No further questions.
Prosecution, are you ready with your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to call Ms. Dorothy Franklin to the stand.
And would you swear Ms. Franklin in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Please state your first name and spell your last name.
Dorothy Franklin, capital F-R-A-N-K-L-I-N.
Court is adjourned.
Mine is not yours, about what to do.
Please do not speak to any of the prosecution or defense counselors or witnesses, or watch television or read newspapers. Order! Huh? Court is adjourned until tomorrow.
Courtroom 505, State of California. The Honorable Tom Motorbach is now in session. Please be seated.
Second day of People of the State of California versus Cindy Ballard. Ma'am, would you swear in the jury?
Jury members, all rise. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear. To do my best. As a jury member. In this case. I will consider. Only the evidence. In proving guilt or innocence. Be seated.
When we adjourned court yesterday, we had Ms. Franklin on the stand for prosecution. Can you please call her to the stand, please?
I'd like to call Ms. Dorothy Franklin to the stand.
tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name and spell your last name.
Dorothy Franklin, capital Franklin.
Good afternoon, Ms. Franklin.
Good afternoon.
Will you please relax and speak loudly and clearly and direct your answers toward the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your occupation?
I'm a social worker.
Are you married?
I'm divorced.
Do you have any children?
2 grown children.
Can you please show us on the map where you live? Is it dark at 11:30 at night?
No.
Is it well lighted or?
Well lighted. Very
Okay.
light.
Was there condensation in the air during that night?
Yes, there was.
Well, what is your vision?
2020.
Did the condensation affect your vision in any way?
No, it did not.
What were you doing on the evening of April 27th, 1984?
I was out with my dog in the front yard while he made his runs.
Where were you standing?
Under the carport.
Could you see Miss LaFrance clearly?
Yes, I could.
Have you ever met Miss LaFrance before?
I've never met her personally, but I see her.
So you wouldn't be prejudiced in any way for or against her?
No.
Okay. Could you please describe for the court what she was wearing on the evening she was hit?
Grayish jogging suit like with headphone sets.
Would this match her jogging suit?
Yes, it would.
Please record that she identified prosecution exhibit number 2. When she came to the crosswalk, did she stop and look both ways before entering?
Yes, she did.
Objection, Your Honor. Prosecution is leading the witness.
Jury, please ignore that question.
And let me rephrase the question. When she came to the crosswalk, what did she do?
She looked both ways.
Could you see any cars coming?
No, I could not.
No headlights or anything?
No.
How far did Miss LaFrance get into the crosswalk before you saw the car?
She was about halfway.
Did you do anything to try to help her?
Yes, I did.
Did you yell to her or?
Yeah, I screamed to her, look out, but it was too late.
Did the car try to stop when it approached Miss LaFrance?
No.
After the car hit Miss LaFrance, did it appear to stop?
It slowed down, but then it sped up.
Did you get a look at the license plate number?
Yes, I did.
And what was it?
VAN 64.
What did you do for Miss LaFrance after she was brutally hit?
I went over to see if she was still alive, and she said, "Where am I?" And then she kind of blanked out. So I immediately ran into the house, wrote down the remaining of the license plate number, called 911. After I was assured that someone was on their way, I went back out.
While you were in the house, did you take extra blood pressure medicine?
Yes, I did.
Does this have any effects on you,
No.
besides lowering your blood pressure?
Objection, Your Honor. Witness is on next court.
Can I approach the bench? Or wait for this decision?
Yes. Stand. Sustained.
Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess?
Yes.
Okay, here goes.
How long have you been taking your blood pressure medicine?
Probably over 14 years.
Okay. In this time, has it had any side effects?
No.
You had already written down the information about the accident before you took your medicine, right?
Yes, I did.
So it shouldn't have any effect on on the information?
No.
Okay. Did you go back out? Okay, you went back out to Miss LaFrance. After Officer Martinez arrived, what did you tell him?
I told him the license plate number that I'd seen, and I also told him the colors of the car.
Okay, and can you tell the court what it looked like?
It was an older model, and it was pale blue,
Okay.
compact.
Okay. You said earlier that there was condensation in the air, correct?
Yes.
Did this cause the windows on the car to be hard to see through?
No.
So you did get a look at the driver?
A profile, I got. Profile. of the driver.
Okay, Your Honor, will you please ask Mr. Ralph Kabari to stand and turn to the side?
Mr. Roy, please
Ms. Franklin, is that the profile you saw?
No, the profile I saw was a young woman. Blonde hair, not a man.
Your Honor, we ask the defendant please to rise and turn to the side.
Ms. Ballard, could you please stand and show your profile?
Is that the profile you saw?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you were 63, almost 64 at the time of the accident, correct?
Yes, I was.
Do you consider this old?
No.
Did it cause you to lose your sight or memory by getting this age?
No.
Have you ever met Ms. Ballard or Mr. Gabarty before this accident?
No, I have not.
So there's nothing that affect your testimony either way?
No.
Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess?
Yes.
I have a few more questions, Your Honor.
Order in the court, please. Order.
What was the driver of the car wearing?
I got a glimpse of a white, sweatshirt.
And which windows did you see the driver through?
First saw it coming through the windshield. Got to look there, and also when it passed through the passenger side.
Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions.
Yes, you wish to cross-examine the witness.
We would, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Good day. Now, Your Honor, could you please instruct the witness to answer all my questions in a yes or no manner?
Ms. Franklin, could you please answer yes or no to all the counsel's questions?
Yes, I will.
Now, Mrs. Franklin,
Yes,
is it not true that your carport is 60 feet from the street?
that's true. Yes.
Are there any streetlights at your intersection?
I'm not sure at the intersection, but our
Your
streets
Honor,
are-
the witness is being unresponsive. Could you please ask her to answer yes or no?
Please answer yes or no.
Yes.
Are these streetlights east across your street from your home? Your
Yeah,
Honor.
over.
Your Honor, the witness did not answer yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to recognize the person across the street?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin, would you please take your hand from your
Yes.
Have you seen this person on other occasions at this
Yes, I
time of
have.
night? Do you know this person?
Not personally.
Okay. Here's an important question. Mrs. Franklin, when you realized that the victim was about to be struck by a vehicle, were you concerned about her well-being?
Yes.
Did you call loudly or try to gain her attention?
Yes, I did.
With this concentration on the victim, most surely you were not regarding the vehicle that was about to strike her.
Wrong.
Wrong. But you
No.
just said that you were regarding and very much concentrating on
But I could see
the
both
victim.
at the same-
Please answer yes or no.
No.
Okay. Did this whole affair upset you greatly?
No.
Well, you just said that in the
Objection,
prosecution.
Your Honor. The counsel is harassing the witness.
Overruled.
Now, Mrs. Franklin, did this whole affair upset you?
Objection is irrelevant.
Overruled.
Again, I ask, did this whole affair upset you? Mrs. Franklin, didn't you say that after you saw the accident, you took a second dose of blood pressure medication?
Yes, I did.
Wouldn't that imply that you were very excited?
No.
It wouldn't? I find that hard to believe.
Nervous, maybe.
So you're saying that this whole affair did not cause you to seek any medication?
Yes, it caused me to seek some medication. But no, it did not.
Yes or no? Double question.
No.
Okay. Is it not a fact that you have a blood pressure problem?
Yes, I do.
Do you take any medication for any sort of physical problems?
For medication for my blood pressure, yes, I do.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it not true that some medications do affect the mental powers of individuals.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is not an expert on all medications.
Sustained. Jury, please ignore the questions.
Okay, Mrs. Franklin, isn't it very convenient that the license plate number...
Objection, Your Honor. The counsel is asking for a conclusion.
Now, Mrs. Franklin, isn't it very convenient that the license plate number of the car that you saw struck the victim is the same as your age?
Yes. Not the whole thing.
Couldn't you be slightly mistaken about the number?
I was not slightly mistaken,
Your Honor,
but there was
Your Honor,
one number
yes or
missing.
no?
Please, yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Franklin, might the number have been some other number like 84, 74?
No,
Might have been 62,
no,
68?
no.
Okay. Is it also possible that the number was the second two digits instead of the first two digits, as you previously stated?
Objection, Your Honor. That's already been proven that the car that Miss Cindy Ballard was driving was the car that she saw.
Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess? What? I've been done.
You're done.
Yes. But are there any other?
So she did not see the girl who was actually driving. Just a blonde. Yeah, just a blonde, figure. And then there could have been many blonde figures in the town or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I did take over a few questions. I did take over one of my questions. Yeah. Your Honor, I have a few more questions for the witness. Ms. Franklin, is it possible that the person you saw, that a person who wearing dark clothing and possibly dark hair might not be noticed in a passing vehicle?
Only if they're in the trunk of the car.
Yes or no, please?
No.
Okay. Would this not be more possible if a person with light hair, light complexion, and light clothing were sitting in a proximity close to this person wearing dark clothing?
No.
Ms. Franklin, are you positive that the defendant is the person that you saw?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I have another 10-second recess?
Blonde-headed female American. She cannot be sure because she said she saw the profile. No, she said she's the profile.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can she see black in the dark?
Remember, don't beat it to death where the jury's just mad at you. You know, if she's just not going to comply with what you say, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I would end up by saying, Mrs. Franklin, isn't it true? What you're saying here that you can only verify profile, not anything else.
Order in the court.
Mrs. Franklin, isn't it true that the only thing on the night in question that you identified was a profile of a blonde woman?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, are you ready to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Martinez.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name and spell your last name.
George Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N.
Good afternoon, Officer Martinez.
Good afternoon.
Please would like to direct all your questions or your answers to the jury. Please tell us your occupation.
I'm a police officer for the city of Belleville.
About what time did you receive Miss Franklin's call about the accident?
11:30.
And how do you know this?
I was just coming on duty.
What did you do at that point?
I proceeded to the scene of the accident.
Can you show us where that was?
Yes, it was on the corner of 22nd and Foothill Boulevard.
What did you notice when you got there?
I noticed Miss Franklin stooping over Miss LaFrance.
What was Miss Franklin's state of mind?
She was quite calm.
Was the lighting at the scene of the accident bright? Could you see everything clearly?
Yes, it was fairly bright.
There was condensation in the air, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is leading the witness.
Was the rain a problem?
No, not for me.
What did you do after the ambulance took Miss LaFrance to the hospital?
I questioned Miss Franklin about what she saw.
Can you tell the court what that was?
She saw a pale blue Plymouth Valiant strike Miss LaFrance in the crosswalk, and she saw the first 5 numbers of the license plate.
Which were?
VAN 64.
Did you get a chance to talk with Miss LaFrance at the hospital?
Miss LaFrance, yes, I went there and she regained consciousness. I told her the condition and the time.
Your Honor, may I have a 30-second recess? What time did Miss LaFrance?
Order in the court.
What time did Miss LaFrance gain consciousness?
Time she regained consciousness, about 12:25.
Thank you. Did you get a chance to speak with her husband?
Yes, I did, briefly.
What did you say to him?
I just told him I'd try my best to find out who was responsible for the accident.
It's true that there's been several articles in the paper about the, quote, inept investigation of highway murders, unquote, by the department. Police department. Does that disturb you?
Not really. I was doing a job.
Do you have any prejudices against the Ballards due to the fact that Cindy Ballard's mother is the one who made the accusations in the paper?
No.
After you finished talking with Miss LaFrance, what did you do?
I went into my squad car and received a call from headquarters that there was only one license plate with a number similar to that, and it was registered to Steve Ballard.
What did you do then?
I proceeded to his house.
Approximately what time did you get there?
I got to the house about 12:35.
Okay, did you observe anything unusual at the car?
With the car? Yes, it was parked rather crooked. There was a tire in the grass and a dead in the front. I saw a green piece of cloth on the bumper, and I removed that, put it in the evidence bag.
Is this the same piece?
Can you see that?
Does the record show that the officer identified prosecution exhibit number 2? Did you have probable cause to take the green cloth?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you do next?
I knocked on the door.
Who answered?
Miss Cindy Ballard.
Can you identify her?
Young lady right there.
Your Honor, please let the record show that the officer identified Miss Cindy Ballard. When you arrived at her house, what was she wearing?
She was wearing a white bellwether height sweatshirt.
Was there anything else you noticed about her?
She had alcohol on her breath.
When she answered the door, what did she say?
She told me that that her car had been in an accident and that she was about to call the police.
Now, the accident happened at 11:30. It was 12:35 when you got to her house. She waited an hour after the accident to call the police?
That's correct.
What did you ask her then?
I gave her her rights and I asked her if she would answer any questions.
Did she choose to speak with you?
Yes, she did.
Where had she been?
She said she had been in a party.
Okay. Did she say anything about the accident?
Only that she had not been driving.
Did she ask about the victim?
No.
Not even if she was dead or alive?
No.
Have you handled many cases like this while you've been working on the force?
Objection, Your Honor. That's irrelevant.
Answer the question.
Many similar to it, yes.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an expert on judging the characters of criminals?
Yes,
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for conclusion.
Sustained. Please ignore that question.
Do you consider it callous that a person would not consider the welfare of a hit-and-run driver, or the person who's the victim?
Callous? Yes.
Did you find her story hard to believe?
Yes, it was pretty difficult.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel calls for opinion.
Stand. Please move the question.
Did Miss Ballard admit to drinking?
Yes, she did.
What did you do next?
I arrested her for driving under influence of alcohol and hit and run.
Okay. You took her down to the station, correct?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is leading the witness.
Overruled. Stand. Ignore the question. Judge already made a decision.
What did you do after she admitted, or after you arrested her?
I gave her an option of the test that she could take to test for drunkenness, and she chose the breath test.
Was she willing?
Not really, but I guess it's because maybe I wanted to give her the blood test, so she picked the blood test.
What were the results?
She ended up with a .04.
Is that legally?
That's below the legal limit.
Okay. Where did you proceed next?
I proceeded to the home of Ralph Gabardi.
Okay. When you arrived at Mr. Gabardi's home, did you inform him of his Miranda rights?
Yes, I did.
Did he know about the accident?
No, he had no clue of what I was talking about.
Was he defensive?
No, he seemed a little...
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for an opinion.
Overruled.
Was he defensive?
No, just a bit nervous.
Why do you think he was nervous?
Objection. Counsel is calling for an opinion.
Sustained. Please ignore the question, jurors.
What did he tell you?
He told me he had been at a party and that he had walked home.
Have you ever met Mr. Gabardi before that day?
No, I haven't.
So you have
Objection,
no.
Your Honor. That was irrelevant.
Stay. Please ignore the question.
May I approach the bench?
Yes.
Somebody else.
You're the one who objected.
Order in the court. Young lady in the back, I'd like to remind you not to speak during testimony. The objection is overruled.
Have you ever met Mr. Gabardi before that day?
No, I didn't.
So you wouldn't have any prejudice for him or against him?
No.
Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess?
You may.
Your Honor, I have no more questions.
Vince, do you wish to cross-examine the witness?
You would, Your Honor.
You may proceed. Light back.
Good day, Officer Martinez.
Good afternoon.
Officer Martinez, is it true that you had concern in regard to some witnesses' testimony?
Concern?
Concern to their memory?
Not really, no.
Your Honor, could you please instruct a witness to answer yes or no to all my questions?
Officer Martinez, please answer yes or no to all these questions.
Okay. Then it is very likely that some facts that you entered are untrue.
No.
Okay. Did you ever feel undue pressure in regards to cases of this nature?
No.
Was it of any of your department's past events? For the undue criticism?
Yes.
Okay. Was it not city officials that brought forth a great deal of this criticism?
Yes, it
Specifically, wasn't it the mayor's?
Yes.
Thank you. Officer Martinez, when you obtained the license number of the car, could it have been any faulty? Was there any faulty information?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Officer Martinez, when you arrived at the Ballard home, is it not true that the first thing you did was examine the car?
Yes.
And when you searched this car's exterior, you found the car still warm?
Yes, I did.
Also, you found what is now prosecution exhibit number 2.
Yes.
Now I ask you, Officer Martinez, did you ever, in the course of your investigation, ever obtain a search warrant?
No, I didn't.
Your Honor, I move that prosecution exhibit number 2 it be removed from the case because of...
He had probable cause to take it. He stated that earlier.
Order in the court! I'm going to rule that prosecution exhibit 2 was illegally seized and will be excluded from the...
No. Officer Martinez, I ask you, is there any physical link now between Miss Ballard's car and the accident?
No.
Okay, Officer Martinez, in the latter part of your investigation, was the car ever dusted for prints?
No, it wasn't.
Thank you. Then it is possible for you not to state for certain who was driving the car on the night in question?
Yes.
Okay, Officer Martinez, when you went to the door of the Ballard home and was admitted by Ballard, was her attitude one of relief upon seeing you?
Somewhat.
Your Honor,
Yes.
based on your experience, officer, would you consider it normal for a suspected criminal to be grateful to see an officer of the law
No.
and invite that
Excuse me,
officer?
Counselor. Bailiff, would you please dismiss the young woman with the black sweatshirt from the court?
I didn't even say anything. You didn't even say anything? Bye. You're still not telling me.
Okay. Now, Officer Martinez.
Order!
Now, Officer Martinez, I'll restate this question. Based on your experience, do you consider it normal for a suspected criminal to invite an officer of the law into their home?
No.
Thank you. Officer Martinez, did you no, scratch that. Officer Martinez, when you went to Mr. Gabari's apartment and seen his wet clothing, did you notice any mud or grass on his pants or shoes?
No.
Did you ask him to see his shoes?
I didn't.
Okay. Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess?
She didn't ask him about whether or not he was wearing shoes. Ask about the blood test. He was not, but
Officer Martinez, did you ever, in the course of your investigation, give Rolf Gabardi a breath test?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And is it your knowledge that Mrs. Franklin, shall I rephrase that? Is it your knowledge that Mrs. Franklin was on medication?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Prosecution, do you have any other witnesses to call this stand?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd like to call Mr. Ralph Gabardi to the stand.
When you said no, you should have told the police. How did he know? Does he know her from offhand to know that she does have medication?
Order in the court.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please state your full name and spell your last name.
Ralph Gavardi, capital G-A-B-A-R-D-I.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gabardi. Please relax and direct all your answers to the jury. What brings you to America?
Well, I'm a foreign exchange student from Switzerland, and I came over here to go to medical school.
What does it take to be a foreign exchange student?
You have to have good grades, a good attitude.
Objection, Your Honor, it's irrelevant.
Overruled.
Yes,
Well,
Your Honor.
you have to have good grades, good attitude, and you have to abide by the laws that in the country that
I assume that you possess these qualities?
yes, I did.
Please tell the court where you were on the evening of April 27th.
I was at a party thrown by Jill Cochran.
Did you speak with Ms. Cochran?
Yes, I did. She introduced me to Cindy Ballard.
Is she in this courtroom, Ms. Cochran?
Yes, she is.
Can you point her out?
Sorry.
No, Ms. Cochran.
Miss Cochran. Miss.
Um,
Order in the court.
she introduced you to Ms. Ballard, right? Have you ever met Ms. Ballard before?
I've never met her, but I've seen her at school.
What happened next?
Well, me and Miss Cindy Ballard danced for a little while.
Okay. Did you go out to her car?
Yes, we did.
And who suggested that?
She did.
How did you sit in the car?
I sat on the passenger side.
When you got in, did you slam the car door?
Yes, I did.
Did she?
Yes, she did.
What did you talk about?
Well, at first we just talked about life.
Did the conversation change?
Yes, it did.
What did you talk about?
She started getting more personal and intimate.
Can you elaborate?
Objection, Your Honor, question is too vague.
Overruled.
Can you please elaborate on that?
She started asking questions like if I'd ever dated an American girl and if I wanted to.
Have you ever dated an American girl?
No, no.
Why not?
Because I have a girlfriend in Switzerland.
Did you tell her this?
Yes, I did.
And what did she do?
She became upset and she just stared in front of her.
Okay. What did you do?
I tried to comfort her, but she just wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Did you leave or did you stay?
I decided it's best for me to leave.
Did you slam the car door when you got out?
No, I didn't.
It was misty outside, correct?
Yes, it was.
And you still passed up a nice warm ride in the car to walk home in the rain?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Obvious reason Miss Ballard was under the influence, and I didn't want to travel home with her because she was obviously upset.
Do you have an American driver's license?
No, I do not.
Have you ever ridden in Miss Ballard's car before?
No, no,
Have you ever been to her house?
never.
Do you even know how to get there?
No, I do not.
Okay. Back to the car. What time did you get into the car, or did you leave the party?
Excuse me.
What time did you leave the party?
I left the party at 11:15.
Did you go back to the party after you got out of the house?
No, I didn't.
Please show the court which way you went home.
I was at Miss Cochran's house, and I took a direct route at the jogging path home.
Was the jogging path grass or dirt?
It's grassy and grassy.
While you were walking home, did you see or did you hear Miss Ballard's car drive away?
No.
So when you left, Miss Ballard and her car were still at the party, as far as you know.
Yes.
What time did you get home?
Got home at 11:30
Okay. How do you know this?
because I turned on the TV and Johnny Carson was just beginning his monologue.
What time were you informed of the accident occurring?
Well, now I know it to be 11:30.
So the accident occurred at 11:30, and you got home at 11:30. So is there any possible way you could have been the driver?
No.
Did you watch the Johnny Carson show?
No, I didn't.
Were you considerate enough not to wake your landlords?
Yes, I was. I didn't want to wake them up.
Do you have anything against Ms. Ballard that might affect your testimony?
No, I did not.
My last question is very important, so please speak loudly and clearly. Did you drive the Ballard car on the night of April 27, 1984 and hit Miss Genevieve de France?
No, I did not.
Your Honor, may I have a 10-second recess? What time did you leave the party to go out to Miss Cindy Ballard's car?
Got out of that.
And you stayed in the car approximately how long?
Approximately 15 minutes.
So you left the car at 11:15.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were your clothes wet from walking home?
Yes, they were.
And what did you do with them?
I just hung them up in the shower to dry.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no more questions.
There will be no more questions. Court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Jury, I would like to remind you not to talk to any of the counselors or the witnesses, not to read newspapers or watch any television programs concerning the case.